Hey guys, welcome to Rudy's movie review, San Antonio's unofficial movie critic. Hey, this video is really just me getting things off my chest. I want to talk to you guys and maybe just hear what your thoughts are on this particular topic. But here it is. I saw Justice League last week and I thought it was a very fun movie. Of course, it's not one of the best comic book movies of all time, no, but it was a fun movie. I was laughing, I had a great time. The theater was laughing. I walked out and I was like, hey, I was really happy with that, and I posted my review and my thoughts on it. Overall, I gave it an 85 out of 100, okay? Then I was invited with some friends, thanks Renee for inviting me, to see it again. So I saw it again, and I loved it even more. I was laughing at the same jokes. I caught some things that I missed. Like, for example, Flash is running to save the civilian. Superman comes up behind him and is like, hey, Slowpoke. I thought that was really cool. I was like, hey, that's Superman. This is the best Superman that we've had on the film since Chris Reeve. And I'm really glad they kind of turned things around. So I saw it again. And again, the theater was laughing. They had a great time. And I'm like, all right. So why are critics just tearing it apart? I mean, there's some critics that love it, but the majority of critics of Rotten Tomatoes has it like in the 40s. I mean, what is the disconnect? The audiences love it. Their percentage is at 86 or higher. But the critics, and again, another DC film comes out and the critics are just destroying it. And I don't know why. I mean, again, it's not a perfect comic book movie. I'm aware of that. But why are they just tearing it to shreds? For example, I have a quote right here on my laptop I want to share with you guys. So let me just read this aloud. Justice League is just about the most drab and lackluster superhero epic ever made. What the hell? I'm like, man, what is this woman actually like? I'm not going to reveal her name, but it doesn't say much when she's a huge fan of the Fate of the Furious that just came out, and also she had this to say about Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters sends a clear shot across the bow to those who would object to its very concept and delivers an unexpectedly moving rallying cry for girl empowerment. Yeah, that says quite a bit. What is it with critics not liking DC films? And I wanted to really get in deep about this and really uncover the why. So let's go back a couple of years and just talk about the most successful comic book films that have come out as of late.
They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Let's start with the obvious, Guardians of the Galaxy. What has James Gunn done to the Marvel Universe? He's transformed it. He transformed these characters into something that was popular, and now they're household names. Who would have ever thought Drax the Destroyer would be a conversation that my mom would know, you know? But what did he do? What was the formula that made Guardians of the Galaxy so successful? Look at the writing. You have the protagonist, Star-Lord, who is just a charming, witty, fun, smart-ass type of guy that the ladies, oh, they love him, right? Put some abs on him, put a sense of humor, make him a little bit of an asshole, and he is just a winner. Throw some pop culture references in the writing, throw a great soundtrack, and boom, you have a hit. That has been so effective. Look at what it's done to the Marvel landscape. If you look at when Thor Ragnarok was first announced a few years back, look at the title sequence and look at how it was supposed to look. And then look how it transformed. You have more of an 80s retro type of a design, right? It was because of the audience reaction and the success of Guardians of the Galaxy that Thor Ragnarok became what it did. And let's talk about Thor Ragnarok, okay? As I said in my review, I gave it a 90 out of 100. Thor Ragnarok was a blast. I had a great time. I was laughing the entire time, and I loved it. I saw it twice, and I laughed it again, more the second time. But that film is a direct result of the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. The theme, the tone, the 80s feel, the color scheme, the design, even Thor, he was a comedian. And let's really talk about that. To the mass audiences, Thor Ragnarok is a hit, and it's probably going to be the biggest film of the year next to The Last Jedi. But to the comic book fans, is Thor really still Thor? Ask yourself that. Are the movie studios designing films based on what the audience wants, or are they designing it based on the source material? Let that simmer in for a little bit. I don't have the answer. You have a couple comics like Logan and Deadpool who stick to the source material and it's a winner. And then you have other films that are just really changing it up a little bit and making it to what the audience wants. And that's where I really have a problem with it. I had a great time with Thor Ragnarok, but is it timeless? Probably not. I'm probably going to watch it in a couple years and see Chris Hemsworth acting like a fool and a comedian and really not like Thor. He's in the Thor costume, but it's not Thor. Similar to Jim Carrey back in the early 90s. Let's take a history lesson, guys. Let's go back to 1992. Oh, 1992. I remember it well, just like it was yesterday. Like I said, I am pretty damn old. But 1992, we had Batman Returns come to the silver screen, and I remember it being a movie that you just had to go see. Of course, Batman 1 was a groundbreaking film. It brought the popularity of Batman, a dark representation of Batman to the screen that we had never seen before. Again, prior to Batman in '89, when you said the word Batman, you thought of the word of campy, silly, fun, Adam West TV show. It wasn't dark, cool as we know it today. And again, we can thank Frank Miller about that and Tim Burton for just bringing the Dark Knight into the modern era and giving him a dark tone. Okay? But then 1992 comes around, we get Batman Returns, and everyone said it was too dark, too brooding, I didn't have fun. We didn't like it. It was cool, but most of the audiences didn't have fun. So the studios caught wind of this and they go, you know what, we need to change everything. We need to make it more fun and more colorful. What should we do? I don't know, let's cast a new Batman. Let's make it more colorful. Let's get a director to just change it up and just make it more family fun. And look what happened, we got Batman Forever.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
And Batman Forever is a cool movie, but it's very dated, and it doesn't stand out as a true comic book film. You ask any comic book fan, it's cool, but it's really one that's kind of forgettable. And when I see Jim Carrey in that film, Jim Carrey was at the height of his popularity at the time. He had just made Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and The Mask, so they casted him as a Riddler. Now, was he the Riddler? No, it was Jim Carrey in a Riddler outfit, acting like a fool. And was Two-Face Two-Face? No, Two-Face was trying to keep up with Jim Carrey. Poor Tommy Lee Jones. I hear they hated each other. But it was a caricature. It was a comedy. It was silly. It was a cartoon. And that's what I think Thor Ragnarok is now. And I think we're just repeating ourselves. Here we are in 2017, and we have Thor Ragnarok. Maybe Thor Ragnarok is the equivalent of Batman Forever. Don't know. Batman Forever was the #1 movie, I believe, in 1994, 1995 when it was released. Thor is up there, but is it timeless? Probably not. Now let's get back to my point. Audiences love campy. Audiences love to go to a movie theater and have a great time and just totally forget about anything serious, i.e. Fast and the Furious movies. And i.e. Marvel movies. They're fun, right? They have a great formula and they know what to do. But DC Comics are a total different animal compared to Marvel. The best DC Comics novels that are timeless, that are regarded as some of the best stories ever told in comics, are dark. For example, The Watchmen, The Dark Knight Returns, Kingdom Come, The Death of Superman. These are regarded as the greatest stories in the DC catalog, and they're not fun ha-ha movies. They're dark tales. And that's what makes them unique, and that's what makes them timeless. Again, say what you want about Zack Snyder. I totally appreciate what he's done so far to the DCU. Man of Steel was dark and brooding. That's because that's the tone of DC. That is their core. That is who they are. Say what you want about Batman v Superman. I enjoyed it. I walked in knowing what to walk into. I knew the story that I was going to hear and see. So the tone, the sadness, all that, that's what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a happy ending, so to speak. And I think Batman v Superman with that tone has put a bad taste in critics' mouths, and that's carried over to the Justice League. Now, Wonder Woman was a standalone film. That's a great film. I know most critics saw that in a different light. The Justice League brings Batman and Superman back on the big screen, okay? So that bad taste they had with Batman v Superman carried over to the Justice League. That's my opinion. Because some of these reviews are just toxic and vindictive. This was a fun family film with a bunch of heroes having a great time, smiling, beating the bad guy. And critics hate it. I don't get it either. And the more I thought about it, think about this. Prior to Justice League being released, you heard a lot of stories coming out anything to tarnish their brand. You heard about Ben Affleck allegations, Jason Momoa allegations. You heard about the mustache being removed via CGI. And there was a lot of pushing to get the actors in a bad light prior to the movie being released. Why? I don't know. Do we ever hear about Marvel movies and bad press? No. It really makes you think, right? Anyway, guys, I have to get that off my chest because I really don't know what the disconnect is. If I can kind of go on an old man rant right now, allow me to do so. This is not scripted. I'm speaking genuinely from the heart. So please hear me out. As a kid growing up in the 80s, my dad would buy me comics. I didn't have a choice whether it was Marvel or DC. My dad just went to the half-price bookstore and brought me like a stack of comics. The first one was Fantastic Four. I remember reading that. The second one was Superman, Daredevil, and the other one was Captain America. So it was a mixture of DC and Marvel, right? I love both. I love Star Trek and I love Star Wars. And when people ask me what I like the most, I don't have an answer. And that really freaks me out sometimes because like, well, you gotta pick one. I'm like, why do I have to pick one? Why can't I love both? Guys, we are living in a wonderful time right now. If I can go back to my 80s rant, growing up, I never thought in a million years I would see these stories on the movie screen. All we had was the Incredible Hulk show. We had Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. We had The Greatest American Hero, so we are very limited on what we can see. Those shows were my favorite shows as a kid, but that's all we had. We were lucky to get a movie. My point is, guys, we're living in a wonderful time in our lives, in movie cinema, where the stories that I grew up with as a kid that were on paper are now being imagined on the big screen. I can't explain to you the happiness I feel taking my kids to see this because I'm kind of seeing the movies through their eyes. They're lucky to be living through a time like this. We all are. Comic book movies are great stories with a moral compass that kids can follow. And all we're doing is fighting and complaining. Guys, knock it off. Enjoy this. Before you know it, the superhero genre is going to be oversaturated and this is going to be gone. Enjoy these movies. Be critical about them, but don't destroy them. And I guess that's all I had to say. Yeah, that's it. And as always, guys, thank you for watching Rudy's movie reviews, San Antonio's unofficial movie critic. Please take care, God bless, and live long and prosper. I'm out.